Let's call this meeting to order. It's the Fort Mill Town Council meeting for September the 19th. Thank you all for joining us. If you have a device that might possibly interrupt our meeting or you're speaking, please put it on quiet so that we can give you our full attention. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Councilwoman Cook will provide our invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for providing such a beautiful fall afternoon and making it the best place in the United States to be. Please be with our country and our world as we mourn the loss of Queen Elizabeth, and help us to support as we go into a new era. Please be with this council tonight as we go through the finances of the town, making the best decisions possible for the community as a whole. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Councilman Helms could not be with us this evening, but if he is free from his commitment, he will join us later. So, council members, you have received the minutes from the August 17th, August 22nd, and August 31st council meetings. Are there any changes, deletions, or additions? Okay, Ronnie's not here, so somebody's going to have to do a motion.
With no changes, I make a motion to approve the draft from August 17th, August 22nd, and August 31st.
I'll second it.
Got a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, thank you. Public comment pursuant to Section 2-46 of the Code of Ordinances for the Town of Fort Mill. Any citizen of the town may appear before council for the purpose of providing public comments on any municipal matter except personnel matters. Those who wish to speak must sign in outside council chambers prior to the start of the meeting. Citizens will be given 3 minutes each to speak. Davey, do we have anyone signed in?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Thank you. All right, presentation number 1, Employee of the Quarter. Davey Broom. This is one of our favorite things.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to ask if Brandon Warren will join me up front. I understand we need to stand near this microphone. So, Mayor and members of council, Brandon Warren here is employed by our Public Works Department. He serves as the crew leader, our supervisor, and our Buildings and Grounds Department. He's been with us for over 4 years, 5 years now. So I can honestly say he was one of my hires, and I don't get to brag on myself very often.
Proud Papa over here.
I feel like I did a pretty good job in hiring Brandon, and I'm a little surprised it took him this long to win this award, because he has been from day one an employee that has stood above most all the rest, and has been very loyal, very dedicated, and he has grown into this role. And we are certainly proud and happy to have him with us. He's joined tonight by his lovely wife and his lovely mother and father. So welcome, everyone.
Yes.
Mayor, this is Brandon won the Employee of the Quarter for the second quarter of this calendar year, third quarter of our fiscal year. I've tried to get him in this meeting, a couple of meetings prior to this, and it's on my fault, but we got him in here before the quarter is over. But I'd like to read, again, for Employee of the Quarters, what we do is we take requests from all the staff. They can submit their recommendation for Employee of the Quarter. So I have no part in the process at all. Our Human Resources Director asked for that, and then there is a group of selected individuals throughout the town that reviews all of the applications and recommendations, and they make a selection from that list on a quarterly basis. So this is what the recommendation that was sent in for Brandon. My interactions with Brandon Warren have been through events. Brandon has always been so helpful and polite. He has shown growth in his leadership through my eyes in dealing with events. He assesses all my needs and makes a plan to carry out and get the job done. I've observed him a lot and think he will have a great future with the town. He is an example of how to get the job done while being polite. Whether the task is easy or hard, he does his job with pride. I appreciate him and his dedication to his job. So it's hard to argue against that. I certainly see that. I saw it for a year or so before I took my current role, and I've seen it during our events and event committee meetings. Brandon's always jumps in, participates, and is just a very valuable employee. And Brandon, because of that, I want to congratulate you on the Employee of the Quarter. This is your plaque.
Thank you.
The town, any Employee of the Quarter recipient also receives a $100 $100 toward their to them in a form of a check through payroll. But it's not a check, but it's through payroll. So he'd already received that, but wanted to get him the. So let's get a photo. Thank you very much.
I'd like to add to that in saying in today's world where most people think working is an option, anytime we have someone that their peers and the folks above them recognize the effort that you put forth, just know that it affects us all, and we're all extremely proud to have you as an employee. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
And you can't be old enough to be married yet.
Yeah,
That's right.
happens all the time, doesn't it?
Congratulations, Brandon.
All righty. No old business items, so we will move immediately into new business item number 1, public hearing and first reading. An ordinance to adopt the budget for the town of Fort Mill, South Carolina for the fiscal year beginning October the 1st, 2022 and ending September the 30th, 2023. We will open the public hearing at this time. Seeing no one to speak, we will close this public hearing. Now, Davey, if you'd like to proceed with
Yes, ma'am.
your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. So I put together, we as staff put together a slideshow that I can provide some information on the recommended budget for fiscal year 2022 and 23. As you can see, this is we've provided the numbers for the fiscal year 21-22 budget that we're currently in and compared them to the projected or recommended budget for 22-23. For general fund, the overall funding for it is $27,038,446. Gross revenue fund, $16,494,290, and then we have the various programs and funds that make up our grand total budget of $53,818,149. That is a decrease from last year's budget, but I believe I'll be able to provide more information as we move through the PowerPoint presentation. The next slide is a graph signifying the amounts that the budget is made up from. Again, general fund is the majority of it at 50.2%. Gross revenue is at 30.6%, and then stormwater 1.9%, capital project fund 12%, and the special revenue funds at 5.2%. I'll begin with the general fund. The revenue highlights for the general fund. Again, we have a total projected revenues of $27,038,446, which is an increase of $857,082, which is a 3.3% increase from fiscal year 21-22. Contributing factors, it is driven by property tax, garbage services, athletic revenues, and business licenses. Increases in those 4 categories. For the property taxes, the 2022 millage rate, the recommendation for that millage rate is to increase it from 75.2 mills to 79.2 mills, which is a 4 mill increase. How that relates to our citizens, on an average home of $400,000, that increases their annual taxes by $64. That is without the homestead exemption. With the homestead exemption, that is $56 annually.
David, can I make a comment at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
I think to those that'll watch this meeting afterwards, it's important to note that we've been working on this for several months. And actually for, since the beginning of COVID, we've looked at an employee base that has needs, and our budgets must reflect our ability to sustain the good employment and the good programs that we have at the town. With everything that's occurred, we certainly are no different than the grocery store. And I don't know about your grocery bill, but mine's gone up. It's a terrible time for us, after 20 years of not doing it, to raise taxes. But it's also critical that we keep our employee base, that we're competitive as an employer, and that we do our work to ensure that our programs are met, our constituents' needs are met, our community is cared for and safe. So I think this is something that this council and this staff has worked many hours over to consider what should we do to ensure that we're doing our very best for our community. So I think that's really important information aside from just the numbers.
Thank you, Mayor. So that's the revenue side of it. On the expenditure side of the general fund, again, the total projected expenditures is expected to be $27,038,446, which it is in balance with the projected revenues. Included in this year's budget is we have included 6 new full-time positions and 1 part-time position. We have included a cost of living adjustment of 3% for all of staff, except our police department, our law enforcement officials. We are, in order to address a workforce shortage among all of law enforcement across the region and York County, Lancaster County, in this budget, we wanted to be able to retain our staff as much as possible and have an ability to recruit and fill the positions that that are vacant at this moment. In order to do that, we are recommending a 5% increase for the police department employees, as well as in this budget would be a 1% merit increase as well. And the 1% will be left up to management in the police department to go through and do employee annual reviews and base those increases off of those reviews. There's also an 8% increase in the insurance cost for all of town services, and the retirement system contributions has increased by 1% as well. Some of the highlights for the expenditures, you're going to see the term infrastructure security reorganization in several of these slides between general fund and gross revenue. That is a fancy name for a new antivirus threat protection. And so that is something that we are investing in for this year. Strategic plan, we've left $10,000 in the budget. We're funding the Trails Master Plan. We're providing security cameras at both Fort Mill Fire Stations 1 and 2, as well as Walter Wildlife Park in the amphitheater area. A server replacement for the Fort Mill Police Department in the amount of $284,000. And then various machinery and equipment, which equals $305,907 across all of the general fund departments. 23 vehicles. I will say there are several vehicles in this year's budget that will carry over from the 2021-22 budget based on the it's due to the supply chain issues that we've experienced. We've ordered the vehicles in plenty of time to receive them, but the supply chain has forced the dates of taking on many of these vehicles past our September 30th deadline, so we had to carry those over into the new budget. And then we have other outlay associated with $232,962. Mayor, in this budget, we have allocated $500,000 toward road resurfacing. These are resurfacing of town-owned roadways. And then a contingency, overall contingency of $288,823. And that are the highlights, or those are the highlights for the general fund portion of our budget.
Can we go back to that slide before? I think it's important, kind of piggybacking on the mayor's comments about our budget this year, is not only are we taking personnel as a high priority for us, retaining them and keeping them and bringing new ones in and filling some voids, but we're also focusing a lot on safety. That's always been our top two priorities, and there's a lot of the budget that definitely plays off of that. So just want to thank staff for bringing the opportunities to our attention so that we can continue to keep this community as safe as possible and run this business in a way. When you look at the cyberware that we're doing, we're looking ahead and trying to protect our customers and ourselves as well from those kind of threats. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. So for the gross revenue fund, that is our enterprise funds, which are water administration, water maintenance, sewer maintenance, and stormwater funds. The stormwater is separate, but they fall under that umbrella. So for the total projected revenues, $16,494,290. That is a decrease of $5,071,333 from the fiscal year 21-22 budget, and that is due to the decrease is due to the wastewater treatment plant is at completion, and so the SRF loans and the bond series to build or construct the upgrades for the wastewater treatment plant, we do not have those in the budget for this next year. So that's the difference in those amounts. Projected impacts in water and sewer sales, we expect an increase of $643,630 for water and $666,940 for sewer. And we were able to secure a state grant through the Rural Infrastructure Authority to upgrade and replace the Archie Street lift station in the amount of $500,000. So that is a grant.
It's wonderful.
The recommended fee changes, we're recommending a 7.5% increase in water and sewer rates, and this is in keeping with the rate analysis projections. Some of the highlights for the expenditures. Again, the expenditures are in balance with the projected revenues. We are including 3 new full-time positions. It's important, I think, to provide. One position is for a lead meter technician, which we're excited about putting in this year's budget and hiring for that role in order to have someone that's a liaison, if you will, between the field and our business office. So it should help bring that communication piece together and give someone to devote more time to our field services and meter operations. We have a heavy equipment operator in the budget, and the term is fog inspector, but that's someone to inspect fats, oils, and greases. That program helps by providing someone to do that inspections, you hope to catch or help businesses that are disposing of these types of liquids into the sewer system. If you can help educate and keep that out of our system, it cuts down on overflows, sewer overflows, and clogged lines. So that's a very important role we feel to have in this budget. There's also a cost of living adjustment for gross revenue in the amount of 3%. And again, the 8% increase in insurance cost and the 1% increase in the retirement system contributions. Some items that were in the expenditures as well. Again, we put $35,000 in there. We want to continue with our meter change out phase 2, which handles larger meters than the standard residential meters, which we went through over the last 2 years of changing out. Again, you see the term infrastructure security reorganization. That is antivirus protection. We have various equipment for $35,000. We do have 2 vehicles. One is a carryover, which is a van in the water department. The other is a crane truck for the sewer department to help them remove and repair sewer lift station pumps. So they need that crane to pull those pumps out of the wet wells. And then the remaining amounts are associated with the lift station rehab for the Archie Street lift station. So we had to fund that, and then it's paid back through that grant. And then there's a contingency amount of $43,966 in gross revenue fund. Any questions about gross revenue?
Davey, the 7.5% that you talked about at the very beginning, does that include in it, is this where we would see the increase we get from Rock Hill for our water as well? So some of what we're charging is just offsetting the increase that Rock Hill has given us?
That is
and
correct.
That's in this section, correct?
Yes.
Passing the increase.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Just wanting to clarify for those that may not know that our water comes from them and they charge us what they want.
That is correct. Thank you for that.
Okay.
What is the 43 contingency? Remind me again, what is that?
That's for any emergency issues that may arise.
Okay,
You know, like if somebody digs up something.
right.
Broken water main.
Yeah,
That's your rainy day fund.
Yeah.
If something happens, you gotta have contingency.
Yeah,
right.
thanks.
Okay, the next fund that I'll speak on is a stormwater utility fund. This fund is generated through stormwater fees, and the projected revenues are $1,007,211. That is an increase of $1,180 from the fiscal year 21-22, and that's more homes that came online are paying that fee now. We expect to receive $1 million in fees, and then the $7,211 is from return of surplus from the South Carolina Municipal Insurance and Risk Fund. So,
How many, excuse me, so how many homes, or I know Elizabeth started on that, is it figured into this budget?
it's not. These are the homes that are being billed for the stormwater fee and that are paying.
No, I was just curious,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how many you had figured into that. So I know it's a flat fee, $72, I think, per home, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and we expect it will increase as more homes come on.
Right, okay.
Online.
And again, I say this every time. This is a project that the state sponsored and required us, and every other municipality. This wasn't something that, even saying that, it's a worthy project because stormwater runoff is a big issue, and it's a serious issue for those of us that live along the river. But it is something that we are required to do and work within the confines of the criteria that they set forth for us.
And so, thank you, Mayor. And so for the expenditure side of this fund, it's basically an operating fund. There are no new positions being asked for in this particular budget, but there is the 3% cost of living adjustment as well as the 8% increase in insurance and the 1% retirement system contribution. Some of the items that are in there, we've kept $38,000 in there for a stormwater fee study. We've been working on that over the last year, and we still need to fund that in this next budget. Again, the antivirus program that we would be installing, as well as contingency of $29,573. So there's not a lot of excitement in this budget. It's based on operating needs. The next one that is for the Capital Projects Fund. The revenue highlights, total projected revenues are $6,481,802. That includes transfers from special revenue funds. That is a decrease of $5,949,724 over the fiscal year 21-22. That is due to the Banks Athletic Park is nearing completion, and we've spent most of our funds. It shows as the revenue that we are taking out, but the park is near completion, so we don't have a lot of money in the new proposed budget for that project or many of the larger projects. So that's why it's showing as a decrease. Other revenues for this fund come in the form of mausoleum sales. We expect to have $10,000 from, or receive $10,000 from mausoleum sales. That's on an as-needed basis for the most part, so we really never know exactly how much we're going to take in, but we conservatively budget $10,000. And then $3,000 for interest income, and then the fund balance appropriation, $4,310,902. That's basically the unrestricted budget money in that fund. And then special revenue fund transfers of the $2,157,900. The expenditure highlights, these are the items that are included in the capital projects that we have set aside to, if council decides to move forward with these, this is where the funds would come from. You'll see in there that there is a capital projects master plan. We're in the middle or very beginning stages, about a month into a 6-month process for the long-range facilities plan. We do have $1 million left in there for the Banks Athletic Park because it should be coming up by the end of the month, first part of October, but you know there's always going to be those in arrears billings. So we expect we had to put some money in there just for any billings that come in after that September 30th timeline. We've set aside $450,000 for park improvements. That would strictly be up to council how you would want to utilize that funding if you so choose. But there may be some opportunities in there that council may want to see. Playground equipment at Walter Wildlife Park, we've put $400,000 in there for that. We recognize that needs to be done, and would be ready to move forward with that as quickly as you would like after October 1st. There is again the $100,000 for the CMAC project, which is a local match. That's for a sidewalk project along White's Road that we hold in there until it is construction begins. And then recreation facilities improvements of $3.6 million. This includes monies that we set aside for in case we want to upgrade Fort Mill Community Center. We know that the Fort Mill tennis facility is included in this, as well as some money for the YMCA maintenance on an annual basis that we may need to add. And then, Mayor, there's money in here for the Main Street lighting. We know that we need to address the lighting on Main Street. I will say there may be an opportunity for us to receive this lighting through another source with Duke Energy and us not having to pay out $300,000 for our own poles and lighting. So we'll work with Duke Energy very soon and put a plan together, and I'll bring that to council as quickly as possible. And then we leave $100,000 in there for miscellaneous sidewalk projects that may arise during the year. And that's all I have for the capital projects fund. Any questions? Okay. Special revenue funds, these are the accommodations tax, fire protection impact fees, municipal service impact fees, recreation impact fees, and hospitality tax. And you can see the revenues are listed here for each one of the projected revenues, and any expenses that they equal the revenues in case we need to move those funding toward any project coming up in the future. And that is the end of my presentation, and that is my recommendation for the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. I'm happy to take any questions now that you may have.
Can you back up the prior slide, Chris? Right there. So these are these numbers trending up in the impact fee areas now that we recalibrated the fire and municipal at all prior to the last years?
They are to a degree. The recreation fee, it did increase.
Right.
That one's stayed constant. The way we typically have projected these is based off our anticipated residential developments. Those are on a downward trend with some of our larger subdivisions and some of our current subdivisions kind of closing out, while others, Elizabeth, are coming online. So we kind of saw a dip in projection, but an increase in the revenue, so it kind of equaled out, and it's kind of similar to last year.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's kind of what I was asking a while ago. The Elizabeth really is not figured into this year's budget because it's still very early in the development.
We've made some projections based off conversations we've had with them. There's road improvements that they have to complete before they can close on any homes out there. They're getting close to having that done. So we haven't taken that a little bit into consideration with some of the impact fees and the planning and building permit fees and things of that nature.
I will say I'd like to go along with what the mayor said. It looks very nice and dry. It's a good presentation. There's a lot of heart and soul that's been put into this, a lot of workshops, and I think staff, I want to thank the staff and members of the council for working through it. It's a tough year, been a tough couple of years all the way around. I think we did best we could to try to meet all the needs and be realistic. God only knows what's going to happen in the future, but I think we put together a sane and reasonable to keep Fort Mill safe and the quality of life and the quality of services we've done. So I want to thank everybody who's been involved in it, because it looks very non-emotional once it's all put together and presented like that. But there's a lot of what ifs and whatevers, and I've got 2 or 3 more gray hair and a little more. So I mean, we've been through it, and I think so. If somebody's just watching this, they're going to say, "Well, you didn't ask a question about." Well, we've been through this time and time again. So I would like to say thank you for everybody for working through this.
A lot of small focus group meetings with 3 council members, different teams, where we could field questions and ask, and so we just didn't show up here tonight and vote on this. There's been months and months and months of hard work and effort on the part of the staff and part of the council, and it's a good team effort, and thank you all for everything.
It is, and staff appreciates all the input that council has provided over this budget timeline. It has been challenging it always is. You want to make sure you're providing the safety components that we look for in the town of Fort Mill, but it is a team effort, and staff certainly appreciates everything council does to help with the process.
Not to put a downer on the kumbaya moment we're having, but it's kind of the way I am today. But I do have disappointment that we still don't have a strategic plan that's guiding us for the budget. I know we've got it in the budget and we've had it in previous years. I hope that staff will put effort into making sure that happens. We've gotten, I feel like 75% of the way there in the past, and I take it on this council to make sure that that happens, but also we need staff's guidance, because it's not fair to ask you guys to do a budget without a plan in place of where that budget's going to fund. I also would like that with the improvement that we have with our new Tyler system and our computer system and the addition of some extra head counts, that we can start getting a monthly update like we used to get of where we stand with the budget. We have to do it in our everyday jobs. Fort Mill School District does it. You know, we ought to be able to know where 1 month in we've spent 12% or we've received 12%. It helps give us a lot of guidance if we need to make some changes, if we're able to see it. So I hope staff is able to make that action item and take it seriously, because it is probably one of the main reasons that I'm going to struggle voting this one through this time. Because of repetitive things we've asked.
Okay. I think it's important to note, too, that in the past, we did have those presentations, and in the past, we were on a regular cycle. I don't disagree with you on the strategic plan by any stretch of the imagination. However, we froze our budget during COVID for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
And we were not out there doing the same level of work that required as much change within our structure as we did before. We also then received funding from various state and federal entities that we had to work out how we were going to use that. We didn't have people using the same amount of our facilities. So there were a lot of moving parts within that 2 years, and I know that's beginning to, it's even irritating me that I'm saying supply chain and COVID. There will be an end to when we stop saying that. But I think basically what I'm looking at is a no frills budget. I don't see any frivolous, non-necessary, unchanged spending here. We didn't ask for anything, nor were we asked for anything that's unreasonable. So I think it's important to note that we've tied down this budget year after year without asking for additional funds. This is a unique time frame, a very unique time frame. And I told myself before I came here tonight, there would be no grandstanding to make this pretty or not pretty, and I intend to keep it that way. So this is a project that we all birthed together, and we all worked together on it, and I'm pleased that we're at this point. So we will continue to improve as we move forward, but I'm pleased that this is a no-nonsense budget for me. It's something that is required to keep the level of safety, security, and service that our community deserves. Further questions or comments?
I'll just add one more as a new councilman. You know, I've seen the budgets in the past and everything, and again, you don't really think much of it, but I can say that just about everything in this has been gone through with a fine-tooth comb. It was a lot of thought and process put into this, and I'm pleased to see the outcome of it. And again, thank you everyone for all the hard work between staff and council and everything else. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. You're the only one that hadn't said anything. You want to still be that wise and gentleman on the right? Maybe sometimes that's not a bad idea.
Right. Seeing need-based. That's what I saw as we went through this. It was a lot of things that needed to happen that have not been done. You know, trying to be prudent with the money. So
Cool.
I'm pleased with the process.
Davey, good presentation. Like I said, we have more years ahead of us, and I'm sure it'll look different every time. So thank you, staff, for your work to get us to this point. Thank you, council, for your patience, and I'm hopeful that we will continue moving forward. I need a motion for first reading of new business item number 1. Don't everybody
I
jump
make
in
a
once.
motion to approve New business item number 1.
I have a motion to approve new
I'll
business
second.
item number 1 and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 opposed. And everyone else is approved. New business item number 2, public hearing and first reading. An ordinance to raise revenue by setting the tax millage for the town of Fort Mill, South Carolina for the tax year ending December 31st, 2022, and for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023. Davey Broom, our town manager, is the person that will present, but we'll open that public meeting first. And with no one here to speak, we're going to close that public meeting. All right, Davey, move
Mayor,
forward.
yeah, I'm sorry, Mayor. There's this is just the ordinance for the 2022-2023 budget. It is the same presentation I just gave.
Thank you for not doing it again.
Oh, come on, go through it.
Great. It was very good. No need to be repetitive. There you go. Any questions on this one, or shall we move to someone making a motion?
So I would like to just, David, would you please state again what the millage rate adjustment is to the average, to the medium homeowner?
I think that's a really good idea.
Yes.
Because I know there myself, when I get my tax bill from which is Prosperous County, which includes county taxes, includes school taxes. You look at the bottom line of it, and the Fort Mill portion is just a small piece of it. So we have done some soul searching on this one, and we are adjusting the millage rate for the first time, and just want to be clear what the real impact of that is, because the bottom line with the school and everything else might be totally different. So.
Yes, sir. And for the increase in the millage rate, 4 mills increase from 75.2 to 79.2 mills. Staff took an average home of $400,000. Not every home in Fort Mill is $400,000, but a $400,000 home there would be a $64 increase annually in their current taxes based on that 4 mills. Now, that's homes that do not receive the homestead exemption. The ones that do receive it, that is $56 annually for an increase on a $400,000 home. So if your home is less than $400,000, then it would be less than the 64.
Yeah.
I did some rough numbers today that, just out of curiosity, that would be 18 cents a day for a house that was not under the homestead exemption, and if it was under the homestead, it would be 15 cents a day.
So
That
very realistic numbers, even though we had,
Right.
we fought and had obviously worked through that. But there again, it's a very realistic to be a very realistic budget. So there again, I just want to make sure that was real clear.
And I do think that there's wisdom, because there are so many people that are uncertain of where they live. They know they have a Fort Mill address, but they're not certain if they live in the town and receive a tax bill from the town, or if they live in the unincorporated area. There are also people that, for some reason, believe that the town is over the school district. We are not. We are 2 separate taxing entities that the state gives the authority to tax with. So if there's an increase on one or the other, they are separate. It's unfortunate that we receive a tax bill with all of it on it. I mean, it's good to write one check, right? But it is something that can be terribly confusing to folks that come from other areas of the country that don't do it that way. We tax in arrears, so I think the number's important. It's a small amount, but it's very important to the operability and functionality of the town. So I am trying to make sure there's clarity that this is not about school taxation. This is only for the town, and it's a 4 mil increase.
$5.33 a month is what that comes out to monthly. So to piggyback a little bit, and I'll be quiet after this, is that when you come home from one of our last council meetings, there were 6 police cars down my street for something. I mean, that's what this can go towards paying for. More cops, paying for our firefighters, paying for our public works. I mean, for the people that provide our services that keep us safe at night when anything could happen. So, that was my 2 cents worth if it's worth that. But
It's worth 18 cents a day.
Ben got it to the day. He got it to the day.
I was thinking exactly the same
man.
thing. Whoa.
What's that per hour?
Hourly rate on used
Less
stuff.
than a penny a dollar.
It is an increase, and we should always take that as a very serious thing, but it's a small amount, but we labored over that greatly, and was a lot of discussion back and forth, and that's not a decision made very lightly. It's a very serious decision, and Mayor Savage made a point to say, okay, if we're going to do this, it has to be some focus to it, and there has to be a reason for it. And I think, maintaining the quality of life and the services that we have, that's what it's going to go towards, and it's going to a good spot. So,
Thank you. I think we can all relate if you've been here for a while. I know several of my council members' parents are still here, and my mom lives on a fixed income. So, no, I didn't take this decision lightly at all. But it is something that I want her to remain happy and safe within this community with the services that she needs. So thank you all for doing the hard work, the hard lifting. Thank you. Thank you.
I make a motion, we approve new business item number 2.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It's a unanimous decision. Thank you. So, there are no information discussion items, so we're going to start with the quiet guy.
You get 10 minutes.
Very briefly, just what worth bringing up, not just, it's general, let me stop, I'm trying to preface it. Prayers for my niece Jenny Cooper and her family as she is in her transition phase at hospice this hour with cervical cancer. She's 45 years old, 6 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days old. Encouraged by friends and family that worked tirelessly and to motivate her to fight, put signs in her yard, did silly stuff to lift her spirits, and prayed vigilantly for her. Just a reminder that my takeaway was just a reminder to be purposeful in life, to be a friend somebody needs, and to just be a good human. So you think we got it bad, whatever's going on tough, could be a lot worse. So
Amen.
definitely prayers for her. So
Amen.
sorry, don't mean to be a downer, but
That's
just
not a downer.
weighing on my heart.
It's life.
Compassion is never a downer.
Grief is a result of love. I heard that
Right.
today from
Right.
Queen Elizabeth.
It's true.
It's true. Just beautiful fall weather, or false fall. We have a little heat streak coming up this week, and then it'll be back to fall weather again. Great time at the farmers market Saturday. College football. My Alabama Crimson Tide did it. App State, is going to be the Cinderella story this year. Just enjoy the weather, and we've got a lot of fall festivals, or fall activities coming up. Scarecrows and Main Street being shut down on the weekends. That's going to be great coming up, and that's it. Just get out and enjoy it, and remember, tomorrow needs you.
Amen.
Amen. Lisa?
So I know it's the mayor and my favorite time of year when it's football season. So I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate Catawba Ridge that continues to stay undefeated. That school, that team is very amazing. Really hard for me to say because I've been with the other 2 schools. So now adding the third in is odd, but very proud of them. Well led and coached by Coach Lindak. He is a true honor on the field and off with those men. So they're doing a great job. Also wanted to say congratulations to Comac Cohen Cozell, who was named Tri-County Special Teams Player of the Week. I think he is 100% on point after attempts with Catawba Ridge. He is doing really well. When you hear Scott announce it at the game, it's double deuce. He's number 22, so great job, Comac. I'm very proud of you. And I will say I am also a very proud Appalachian alum, so I am glad it is our season. So
Awesome. Chris Moody?
Oh, Chris Mooney. Okay. That's you.
what's your last name?
No, go Gamecocks. No, I'm just kidding. After Saturday, that was pretty difficult to watch.
You were supposed to warn me. I was literally drinking water.
It was kind of funny.
No,
Today's
it
my
wasn't funny.
mom's birthday, and I knew the game was at noon, so I was encouraging went home to see Mom and all my brothers and sisters, and we were going to eat lunch at noon, barbecue, and that was the time of the kickoff. So it was kind of like this family heated moment, and I'm like, by the time we sat down to eat, it was already 21-0, and I had to just pull up and show everyone that we weren't really missing out on anything there, so we still had a good time. So happy birthday to my mom today. I'm not going to say her age because she says it's not appropriate. So, but she has been a big blessing and encouragement in my life. So, but thank you, staff, for everything. Made it through another budget, so good job.
Excellent.
Chris Wolf.
Mr. Wolf?
I'll just kind of follow up on Ben's comments. You know, the staff and the councils work very hard to help make Fort Mill continue to be the great place it is, and go to a lot of the events and people enjoying the town, and just be involved. You know, there's the social media is kind of a scorn on the people get on there and complain about stuff, but don't just complain, get involved. So if there's things that you don't like, or you've got a better idea, you know, step up, say something, get involved. There's a lot of great groups in the community that you can do things. That's why I'm here. That's why the council's here. You know, we love our hometown and trying to do the best we can. So, you know, everybody has God-given gifts, and, you know, try to use those to the betterment of you know, whether it's church or the community or whatever. So, I just think it's a great place. We want to keep it the quality and the livelihood that it is.
Excellent. I'd like to take a moment to thank our police department for some of the toughest work that could have ever been completed over the last week and a half. Not only did they manage the day-to-day and keep our town safe, but they had the extraordinary skill and dedication to work around the clock for some potential threats that none of us want to see. None of us do. And the work was outstanding. An excellent effort, and made me feel a lot safer, and I'm grateful beyond measure. Grateful. I know that it's an everyday occurrence that our folks have to respond from a fire department, from a utilities department, from a police department to serious situations. What you speak of, we all are people, and on our best day, we're out here griping and grumbling for what we don't have. But on our worst day, our hearts are in our throat, because what we do have, we have people in this community that care. We care about each other, and that is just the most valuable thing I can think of, is to ensure that we remain that community. Second thing is, second Saturday service had to be canceled because of the weather this month. That doesn't mean it's a freebie for you to go throw your stuff on the side of the road. I know that I don't speak very eloquently about litter, but it just burns me up that anyone thinks it's okay to throw something out of a car window. I get that sometimes things blow out of the back of a truck, but tie it down. Weight it down. There are ways to prevent our community from looking terrible. And a lot of people go out on that second Saturday. Some people I know, very close in proximity, and they work themselves silly to pick up and make our town be beautiful. So please help them out. Don't throw stuff out the windows. Davey, can you please tell us Thursday's fall? He keeps talking about pre-fall, fake fall, all this stuff. It's fall Thursday. What about the leaf policy? Are we getting ready to see a shift?
Yes, Mayor, and that's a good question. So leaves, I've noticed they've started falling around Fort Mill, and so in the month of September is when we begin our leaf program. There are two ways that our citizens can have their leaves disposed. One is they can bag them and place them at the curb. That is collected on a weekly basis. We collect those at the same time we collect your curbside and limbs. And that's, for the most part, that we don't miss a week for that. You can also rake them to the curb, and
We ask that you keep the leaves in your yard up to the curb. Do not rake them into the curb or the roadway, because then it becomes a stormwater issue as the leaves flow down the road and into the storm drains. So if our citizens will, again, rake them to the edge of the road, keep them on in their yard, we have a automated vacuum truck that will swing by and collect those. And we, for the most part, stay on track. We collect those on the day of your sanitation day. In some years when the leaves fall in sequences, it's much easier to collect them all and stay on a routine weekly basis. We have had years though where a frost comes up and they all fall at the same time, and there's no way we can go through the entire town, every street in 1 week. So it does take a few weeks to get caught up when that happens. But again, if you do want the leaves gone in a week, you can bag them. We'll haul them away with the regular curbside debris, but otherwise we can collect them along the curb as long as please keep them in the yard. And please do not, when you do that, don't intermingle any limbs or debris that you want collected, because that could damage our truck, which could provide postponements in collecting those leaves. So leaves only in one pile, and then your limbs and debris in another pile separately.
But again, they don't go in the street.
No.
And keep them
Right.
away from the drains.
I got a good friend that rides a motorcycle, and grass and rain or leaves and rain
Oh,
could
yeah.
cause
Dangerous.
this friend with a motorcycle to have a very serious accident. I don't want to see that happen. And it
Right.
can actually cause a car to skid as well. So these are things that seem mundane to everyone, but they're really not. They're important for all of us to take care of each other. I'd also like to thank Chris Sardelli. It's getting better and better, the things that we're able to process and get out on our website and in notifications. I still got a brain that's looking way out here, but I am grateful. You've done a lot of good work, and I want to thank you, because it's pretty often we're screeching that it's not there or something, and I need for you to hear the good too. Thank you. I think we're getting more information out to our community than we have in a while.
As a reminder, Scarecrow Crawl coming up soon. I have had to donate, doesn't have to, but I chose to donate my plastic bags to our neighborhood. Somebody in there was doing a scarecrow. Can we make sure those that are doing them afterwards recycle their bags so we can get more park benches, please? Just make sure as they're registering that we remind them of that program, because I think we could get a lot. So.
And lastly, we're edging shorter and shorter days. Please be aware. Look for kids in the street, pets in the street. Please be safe. And with that, I'll entertain an adjournment
I make a
motion.
motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Thank you all.